Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Toolbox Talk. Today we are talking about PPE that fails and why it happens. We all know PPE is there to protect us. Gloves, glasses, boots, it's part of the job. But just wearing it doesn't automatically mean you're protected. A lot of injuries happen not because someone wasn't wearing PPE, but because the PPE they had on wasn't doing its job. And most of the time, that's something that could have been caught before the work even started. First thing, worn out PPE. This is probably the most common issue out there. Gloves get used day after day, and before long, they've got thin spots, small tears, or worn fingertips. Safety glasses get scratched up or foggy to the point where you're not seeing clearly. Boots lose their tread, or the toe protection is already beat up from previous work. At that point, it's not really protecting you anymore. It might still look like PPE, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And that's where it becomes a problem, because now you're working like you're covered when you're not. Second, using the wrong PPE for the job. Not all PPE is built the same, and not every situation calls for the same level of protection. Light-duty gloves aren't meant for heavy cutting work. Regular glasses aren't the same as impact-rated eye protection, and shoes that aren't made for the job site aren't going to give you the support or protection you need. That's not just a small mistake. That's putting yourself in a position where your PPE can't hold up to the work you're doing. PPE has to match the task. If it doesn't, it's not going to protect you when it matters. Next, the false sense of safety. This is where guys get comfortable. You've got gloves on, you've got your glasses on, and you assume you're good to go. But if that PPE is worn out, or it's not the right type, you're taking on more risk than you realize. And that's what leads to injuries, because your guard is down. You're trusting something that shouldn't be trusted. So what's the fix? Start checking your PPE the same way you check your tools. Before you start working, take a minute and actually look at what you're using. Check your gloves. Make sure there's no weak spots or damage. Check your glasses. Make sure they're clear and not scratched up. Check your boots. Make sure they still have good tread and support. It doesn't take long, but it makes a difference because catching a problem early is a lot easier than dealing with an injury later. At the end of the day, PPE isn't just something you throw on, it's something you rely on. If it's worn out, wrong for the job, or not checked, it's going to fail when you need it most. Take the time to look it over, replace it when needed, and make sure it's actually doing its job. Stay safe, stay smart, and see you guys next time.